Alrighty, so first of all, Happy New Year's to everybody, as today is officially the first day of 2024. And because this is the first day of 2024 and the first video of 2024 I'm making, I'm going to do kind of a New Year resolution kind of video, MLS edition, where I'm going to look at every single MLS team and what they want heading into 2024. And I'm going to limit to just one thing because if I started to kind of do what I did about the whole third kid where I kind of comes up with multiple ideas for every MLS team, this video will be incredibly long. So I'm just going to limit to one thing. And some of these things could be wacky. Some of these things could be desperate needs that these teams want. And then some of these things can be really generic, which is the fact that, these team wants to win MLS Cup because they have the pieces to win MLS Cup heading into this upcoming season. So we start off with Atlanta United. I'm going to go alphabetical order starting in the East, and then we'll go alphabetical order in the Western Conference once we talk about Toronto FC. But we start with Atlanta United, and for Atlanta, it's for them to have a big money transfer for Thiago Almada. So there's no doubt that Thiago Almada is going to be sold off, whether either in the winter transfer window or in the summer transfer window. I do think the winter transfer window might be the time to do so because there's a lot of teams that I have heard that is interest in getting Thiago Almada, and that I really think he's going to be like the next Miguel Almiron kind of transfer. It's going to be a huge amount of money to get him, and that it's going to be interesting to see, for Atlanta how much they're going to sell him off. I think it's probably even going to be bigger than when they sold off Almiron. I mean, when they sold off Almiron, it was like $27 million, which at that time was a record transfer fee. I feel like this is going to be even more, especially if this happened in the summer transfer window. For Charlotte, they need to improve the back line and also kind of not give up leads. Okay, I kind of cheated there because that's two things, but I will say that it's definitely improved the back line. The back line was a huge problem for Charlotte last season, so that's something that they're definitely looking to try to improve heading into 2024. For Chicago, just a playoff appearance. I mean, that is pretty much what every Fire fans are just begging for this Fire team to have. Finally, get out of this cycle of them just start off slow in the season, then look competent in the middle of the season, look like there's hope that they can make the playoffs, and then just self-destruct as soon as we head to September. So yeah, for them, just have a playoff appearance. That is literally what Fire fans have been begging, especially for a team that currently has the longest active playoff drought out of any MLS team so far. For FC Cincinnati, it's got to be the MLS Cup. I mean, for Cincinnati, I mean, I know you could say that the CONCACAF Champions League is important for them too, now that they're in the competition, but they're definitely looking to try to get MLS Cup. Though again, it's going to be difficult because if both Vasquez and Barrio leaves this team, it could make it a little difficult. I mean, the loss of Vasquez, I don't think that's going to be as big of a loss. I mean, I know Vasquez has been great for Cincinnati, but he didn't really had a great season last year. He wasn't really the main contributor. I feel like Bupenza was a perfect replacement for him, and he's probably going to be the guy that's going to be replacing the productivity that Vasquez brings. But losing Barrio is going to be even a tougher loss, especially with the way that he's probably the best fullbacks in the league, probably the best wingback in the league, offering some attacking threat that the Cincinnati team really offered last season. So yeah, if they do lose two of those players, that could be a bit of a blow in terms of their talent on the attack. But still, this team has a lot of good attacking talent, especially when you have the reigning MVP Lucho Acosta. If he's gonna go off again like he did last season, there's no doubt that this Cincinnati team is gonna be once again maybe the team to beat in the East. So if they want to do so, they have to potentially maybe face off against Columbus again as the reigning defending MLS Cup champion. What do they want? Well, it's pretty easy. Just defend their title and not have a hangover kind of season. I mean, Columbus, we know that back in 2020 after they cap off their second MLS Cup win under Caleb Porter, things kind of fell apart heading into next season. And MLS Cup hangover, well, I will say it's not as bad as what we've seen in some other leagues because you saw it last year with LAFC winning MLS Cup. They only end up just going back to MLS Cup the very next year. But we have see some teams that have suffered pretty big MLS Cup hangover. Columbus is definitely one of them, where the very next season after them winning MLS Cup in that COVID shortened 2020 season, yeah, they basically decided to just kind of collapse for the rest of the season and not make the playoffs under Caleb Porter. So yeah, that's going to be something that they're looking to do. Not only just defending their MLS Cup title, but kind of also cheating a little bit, potentially make the playoffs too. For DC United, it's consistency. Consistency was a huge problem for this DC team. So this year, once they do get their head coach, they're hoping to find that consistency, and we'll see whether or not if they are able to find that. For Inter Miami, obviously, I think it's got to be the back line help. I know, obviously, one thing the Inter Miami wants is probably sell more shirts, especially Messi shirts, and some of his friends with the likes of Suarez, Jordi Alba, and Sergio Busquets. Maybe use that as a marketing tool to pretty much sell more shirt, and pretty much sold out every stadium when they do go on the road. But obviously, the biggest need for Miami heading into this season and one is the backline help, because the backline was a huge problem last season, and that's going to be one area that they're going to be looking into. For Montreal, develop a young players and sell them all for a big amount of money. So Montreal is definitely, as I mentioned before, heading into that youth development kind of route where they have a really good academy, but the question is whether or not if they can continue to produce some good young guys and eventually sell them off for a big amount of money. I mean, they already did it before. Guys like Ishmael Kone, they developed him out of the academy and sold him off for a big amount of money, and they're hoping to try to do it again for this upcoming season. For New England, hope Caleb Porter will be the coach to land this team at MLS Cup. In other words, hope that when Caleb Porter takes charge of a team for the first couple of years, that means it's going to guarantee an MLS Cup. I mean, Caleb Porter, one thing about his cycle is that for the first couple of years, you're going to get success. You're going to do well, and you're going to eventually get an MLS Cup. But it's just after winning that MLS Cup that's when maybe things will start to fall apart. And if you're New England, you take that, because this team has been desperately looking to get to that point. Especially they have the pieces to do, like the core that they have right now. They have the pieces to reach an MLS Cup, and they're hoping that Caleb Porter might be that guy to lead to him, especially on a short term notice. That's what Caleb Porter has been very successful of doing. For NYCFC, being back to being an Eastern Conference contender. So I feel like, one thing I will say about NYCFC this season is that they're going to be better, and they're going to be once again a team that many people will fear in the Eastern Conference. They kind of show that near the latter part of the season where they started to get back to the most self, and I feel like that's going to be the case next year, especially with the way that attack that seems like it was clicking near the end of the season and continue into the following season. For the New York Red Bulls, yeah, for them, it's pretty obvious that they need a proven goal scored on this team. I mean, that's been the problem for the New York Red Bulls for the past couple of seasons, and that they're hoping that this is finally the year to do so. The good news is I think they're gonna get back Lewis Morgan after he's pretty much spent the entire season on the IR, and they definitely got an upgrade in terms of one of the attacking position, getting Emil Frostberg from RB Leipzig. I think that's a huge signing for this Red Bulls team and can really improve this attack. But yeah, they need a proven goal scorer, which is something that they just have not had for a very long time now. For Orlando City, getting past the second round of the playoffs. So again, this Orlando City, it's a very good team, but the problem is they seems to falter in the early round in the playoffs, and unfortunately are starting to kind of build a bit of a legacy of failure, of kind of playoff fatality in their franchise history. I mean, they started out become a bit of a consistent playoff team after that's been the struggle for them before the 2020 season. But yeah, they're definitely looking to try to go deeper, kind of trying to replicate what they did in the MLS's back tournament when they gone all the way to the final. Then we look at the Philadelphia Union. Pretty easy. MLS Cup or bust. Again, this is probably the fourth year that we said that this is a team that is in MLS Cup or bust kind of mode, because the core that they currently have, they definitely lost some key pieces, especially I think they lost their captain Ali Bedoya, as he is not going to be renew his contract. But yeah, this is still a team that has a pretty good core, especially on the attacking end. I mean, that attacking trio of Michael Uru, Daniel Gasnick, and Julian Carranza is still there on this team. So this is definitely going to be a team that is looking to try to gun for MLS Cup, and we'll see whether or not if that is the case. For Toronto FC, yeah, just some progression through this deep rebuild. So this is a team that is pretty much going on a nuclear explosion of the off season. They tear down, going through a complete tear down, and now under John Herman, they're hoping that he can build this team back to be a respectable team, just like something he did with the Canadian national team. I mean, one thing I will say about trying to build a team in the international level to be a contender, especially in the CONCACAF region, as what we see Canada has done under John Herman, is that it's completely different compared to the club level, and it will be interesting to see whether or not if he can do it in the club level. And that again, this is a team that heading into this season, it's all about some showing some progression throughout this deep rebuild that they're going through. Then we look at the Western Conference and we start with Austin FC. Defensive help. I mean, it's pretty simple. They need defensive help. Last season was a huge problem on that. I mean, you could easily say the attack needs to be improved, but I feel like last season there were definitely some underachieving part, and I think they should be you hope that those players can bounce back, but it's just the defensive help that is a bit of an issue for this team, and that they're really hoping that it will improve heading into the next year. Uh, Heading into Colorado. So for the Colorado Rapids, yeah, just not completely bottom out like they did in previous season. And that as with the way that the Rapids kind of finished that last season, I'm gonna say kind of them with the same case I said about the Quakes the previous season. There's really nowhere but up for them. I mean, they can't be worse than what they were last season. And even though I know they made a questionable hiring of Chris Armas, they still do have some decent pieces that I don't think this team should be finishing dead last and be just so bad like what we saw last season. For FC Dallas, hope that the attacking trio would stay healthy for this team. So Dallas, they do have a very underrated attack with the likes of Velasco, Ariola, and Jesus Ferreira up there. The question is, can they stay healthy? Because last season, most of those guys weren't able to stay healthy, and because of that, Dallas really just had problems again on the attacking end, and that they're just hoping those guys can stay healthy so that they can reach up to the potential that ideally you would think that this attack should be good enough to finally get this Dallas team past the second round. I mean, as long as they don't play the Seattle Sounders or the Portland Timbers, you would say that they have a chance to go far in the playoffs. But again, that attacking trio, it just needs to stay healthy, and we'll see whether they can do so. For the Houston Dynamo, potentially maybe make a big sell off of one of their promising players. So there are definitely some promising player on this Houston Dynamo team. Probably the biggest example is Coco Carrasquilla. There's a question how much is he's going to be sell off for after just a breakout season that he had last year. So yeah, we'll see whether if the Dynamo are willing to sell those players. I mean, they're definitely going to do so because they're basically following the formula of what all of these teams are trying to do, which is sell some of these promising player and earn a big profit, as what the league is trying to have these teams do. For Sporting KC, I mean, they want what they want this 2024 season is not to go the first 10 games without a win. Just get off to a better start than what we saw last season. I mean, last season it kind of shown you that this is a team that under Peter Vermees, if you kind of ignore what we saw in the first 10 games, this is a good team. This is a team that could be a contender in the Western Conference, and that yeah, they're just hoping that if they are going to be that team to be a contender in the Western Conference, potentially finish in the top four, they can't get off to a disastrous start like they did last season, going with the first 10 game without a win. For the LA Galaxy, it's the same old the defensive help. I mean, they've been pretty much wanting that for almost like 5 or 6 years now. But now I think I would also kind of cheat and say that they also need some goalkeeping help itself, and they kind of got that with John McCarthy coming to LAFC. But there's a question: is he going to be a regular starter? And there maybe be a battle in that goalkeeping spot between Bond and McCarthy, and we could maybe even see a revolving door in terms of goalkeeping situation if Greg Vanny doesn't make a decision of who's going to be the regular starter for those guys. For LAFC, it's MLS Cup. I mean, that's kind of is the case for this team. Last season, very disappointed that they weren't able to repeat. I mean, in some way, you would say that unlike the game against the Union, they were kind of the underdogs against Columbus, and that that the quality of Columbus kind of just shown in that game against LAFC. But there's no doubt that this is still a good team, and you could say that this is still the team to beat in the Western Conference, and they will be desperate to try to get back to MLS Cup. I didn't write CCL because they're actually not in the CONCACAF Champions League this season, which I'm pretty sure they're very disappointed because they won nothing but another crack of CCL and finally finished the job. For Minnesota, let's get a head coach. I mean, it's I think that as much as I know I've said that I don't mind the front office decide to take their time in terms of finding the right head coach because after all you don't want to just make the wrong hiring that doesn't fit the team. But that being said, the fact that this team is kind of behind in terms of the signings and especially the head coaching uh kind of future, and especially it looks like feels like they're kind of punting the 2024 season, which I'm pretty sure the fan base are not very appreciate it because this team should still be a contender because they do have some good pieces and should still maybe be a contender for the playoffs, and that the fact that they just kind of punt this next season and kind of wasted another year of Reynoso and potentially team who he and even Longwan who we don't know if he's going to be potentially be sold off to Europe after having a breakout season last year. Yeah, there's no doubt that this team needs a head coach, and hopefully they'll get one that will really get this team to buy in quickly and get themselves back to being a playoff contender. For Nashville, it's pretty simple. They need another legitimate goal scorer besides Hani Mukhtar. I mean, this has been the case for the past couple of years. This is pretty much the same case again. They're really hoping that they finally will get that guy. I mean, they tried really hard in terms of getting that player in terms of helping to carry off the weight of Hani Mukhtar, and they're hoping that they might find it this offseason. I mean, so far in terms of the attack, the only main signing they made on the attack is Tyler Boy, and as much as I said that Tyler Boy is a really good player and he has a good work rate, he's not a guy that is what I consider to be a legitimate goal scorer and maybe be the answer in terms of just the lack of goal scoring on this. Besides Hani Mukhtar, for Portland, pretty much see the Galaxy. I mean, it's pretty much the same thing that the Galaxy need. The Timbers they need an improved back line and also figure out in terms of their goalkeeping situation in the future. For RSL, they hope that Pablo Ruiz basically stay healthy. So Pablo Ruiz, I really think that he was the guy that kind of was the thing that kind of kept the glue uh, to this RSL team. And we saw last season as soon as he got injured and he's done for the season, that team just fell apart. So yeah, there's no doubt that they're hoping that he stay healthy, and once he gets back, this team should be much better because it's pretty clear that he was very irreplaceable last season, and that, like I said, they're hoping he's gonna stay healthy once he comes back into this team. For the San Jose Earthquakes, creative number 10. So again, this is a team that I could easily said that they need another proven goal scorer, though I think Ibovasi is gonna have a bounce back season, and Christian Espinoza is Christian Espinoza. But one thing that this team still lack is a creative number 10. I mean, Primero Montero, I was hoping that was going to be the guy to do so, but again, he's not really a number 10. He's more like a deep line number 8. And last season, he had a really underwhelming season. So they desperately need a creative number 10 and maybe even spend a DP spot in terms of it, which, again, that's something that the Quakes, I mean, they have spent DP spot before, but more times or not, they have whiffed on those DP spot. I mean, it is very rare to see the Quakes get right in the DP spot. I would say even it's like once in a blue moon, the fact that the Quakes get it right in terms of the DP spot. Then we go to the Seattle Sounders. What they want is to replace both Nico Ladero and Raul Ruidiaz. And there's already rumors that it seems like they're looking for a Ladero replacement. I've heard that there is a rumor that they're getting this guy from Internacional they're gonna spend like $10 million to get him, and that he has a lot of upside and could be a perfect replacement for Nico Ladero. But that being said, they still need a replacement for Ladero, and that yeah, we'll see whether they're going to do so in the winter transfer window, or maybe if the Sounders are going to wait until the summer, because most of the big signing comes in the summer. And then finally for the Vancouver Whitecaps, give me more Vanni Sartini passionate rant, and just some of the crazy madness that I know of Vanni Sartini. I mean, Vanni Sartini is one of the most loved head coach in the league because of all the crazy things that he's done, albeit sometimes he kind of crossed the lines a little bit. But give me more of that. I really love when a head coach show passion, because sometimes when you see head coaches, they kind of feel a little bit vanilla nowadays. I really need some head coach that has that personality to be a little bit different than what we see. So with other head coaches, and Benny Sartini is definitely that kind of guy. So give me more Benny Sartini craziness as what we saw last year. But there you have it. That is pretty much it in terms of looking at what every MLS team wants heading into the 2024 season. So kind of a rapid fire in terms of looking at each of these teams. But let me know in the comments below. What do you think your team won heading into this 2024 MLS season? Again, then what's your New Year resolution for your team heading into this 2024 season and heading into 2024 in general? But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.